episode of POV Marriage with Effy and Perry. Tonight, we're gonna answer some questions we got from an Instagram story I posted weeks ago. It's so late now, but still. Sige, what's the first question, love?
Oh, yeah, I'd like to start this
Mm,
episode first with a statement.
mm,
We'll go back to it at the end, or
mm,
it will be a main theme
mm,
for this episode.
mm.
Whatever you're not changing,
You're
you're
choosing.
choosing. So the question is, what is the most effective way that works for you in keeping intimacy present?
You first.
For me, it's loving you in your love language.
I was thinking about it nga
Oh,
kanina.
wala. You have to answer different.
Forward.
It's been hard to
Mm.
lately.
Sige, why? Diyan. Mm.
What is your love language?
It's something I've learned recently lang. There are different ways daw for a couple. Like one person has a different way of giving and receiving love. For me, giving is alam mo yung mga giggle ko sa'yo when I do that. Tapos I rarely cook. But when I do, it's like I pour my heart out into it. And that I get inis kapag alam kong hindi masarap. Or kapag alam kong like may nakialam. Ganon. It's my way of giving. Also, for me, communicating. When I have an issue or like an upset something in me, I want to be able to like say it right away. Like only like siguro when I can. Just to not make you guess. Something like that. The touches, pag minsan sa car, tapos I touch you in places. Mga ganon. It's very rare kasi na we get that alone time together. Sure. Considering we have a lot of kids. I said, love. I have 30 minutes of being kidless. You wanna do something crazy? It's that. I discovered that. It's giving. Why nandun tayo sa greenhouse, di ba? I'd like come every once in a while. I said, do you want water? Or like, I'd wipe your sweat. Something like that. Receiving love. For me, the quality time talaga. It's undivided attention. Tsaka your physical touches. For me. Yeah. I feel love when I know and I can see na you can handle me. Like, oh shit, he can handle me. It's like that. Go. What's your love
It's my first time hearing the giving and receiving.
language?
But
Does it
yeah,
make sense?
yeah, it makes sense. Well, with the giving, one is acts of
Mm,
service. The cooking,
mm,
the the providing, the
mm,
helping
mm,
with the kids, the helping you, also physical touch. And then for the receiving, I feel like it's more on physical touch.
mm,
I could say quality time also, but um, I feel like it's more on physical touch. That's it.
mm,
That's how I keep my intimacy with you.
mm.
Me and my wife, like we've been through a lot of things, from our last episode. Uh,
It's only
um,
been a week.
yeah, the gap um, for us is like the autopilot um, in us being present in the relationship. I don't know if you've watched the movie The Click,
Mm,
but it's somewhat like that. Going back to what I said earlier, um, it's something that I've identified during our, you know, um, 3 4 years
mm.
together. Whatever you're not changing,
You're choosing.
you're choosing.
Mm,
And I refuse to stay in the gap. I refuse to be in autopilot. Just to share also on whatever got us out of that gap.
mm.
And I got so curious with my wife, wherein I started opening up about our exes. One thing led to another. Where am I going with this?
Mm,
Where was I going with bringing up the past? It was a blessing in disguise for us.
mm,
Na we got to know more about each other. I got to know more about how I can love her better. For me, keeping the intimacy alive was also staying curious with my wife, you know,
Mm.
again, loving her through her love language, which was for me, you know, to ask questions, to talk to her. And
I believe in that. They said, it doesn't matter how hard you're loving that person, but if it's not in their love language, it's not gonna get through. It's not gonna get received well. For them to feel loved, for him to feel loved kasi his way of, ayun nga. For him to feel loved kasi it's more of the physical touches. He's a really touchy person. Not always in the sexual way, but he likes getting touched. As long as, you know, as long as I baby him, he's happy. Like he's fine already with it. And like it basically he'll do everything for me. That's what I've learned from reconnecting with my husband is that like you don't have to criticize everything that he does. It's just a little act of kindness, a little show of appreciation. You know, it really goes a long way. And I know in that way kasi that's how he feels love. Our mornings where we don't time it. Hindi yung pagkagising pa lang. The first thing we do is like check our phones, check emails, check this, check that, check the notifications. Like it always starts with in the morning. How you wake up, how you welcome the day with each other. It's like depositing small acts of love that I know later on during the day you can just get to withdraw or something. Like what you deposit, you get to withdraw all throughout the day. So if you start the morning right, you know, the whole day will be not happy always, but like at least good.
how do you start your morning ba?
It's different kasi the way we start our mornings. That I highly suggest start your morning right for couples. You know, do some touchy, some start with a massage in the morning. It really it really changes the dynamic of like couples because you know it's so sad to be honest. I keep seeing a lot of reels kasi you know they would just sit together, be on their phones all day instead of talking. You know, sayang naman yung araw kapag that's ganun lang yung gagawin nyo. Pwede naman na, like, magkatabi kayo, just, you know, like, initiate some gentle touches, you know, some kisses, tiny kisses here and there. Wala namang mawawala. It's like you're kissing naman your asawa. I highly recommend it. Do that. Touch your partner more. Not always sexually, but just touch your partner more.
I'd like to share also like a short story or experience that me and my wife had back in 2022.
Post-Barry.
Yeah, post where
Mm.
I was brought to jail.
Mm. Mm.
You know, for whatever reason. You know,
Maybe we will tackle it in the future episodes. Stay tuned. Anyway.
mm, I was there for 3 nights, but
Mm.
I was taken out by my wife, her her dad and ate and kuya.
Mm.
During my 3 day stay in jail, it was scary. I was more worried than scared. Worried like I'm not I'm not there to protect them, to
Mm.
protect uh, her, my wife, and the two kids at the time. It was a city jail. There were like 100 people, 100 guys
Mm. Inside.
inside. I found a way to call her while I was inside. Took me 20 pesos for 5 minutes to call her, and that 5 minute call per day meant a lot, especially that first
First
that
one.
that first call. Syempre, I was inside. I didn't know what was happening outside. It was just refreshing for me to know how she was, to hear her voice. Mind you that this was in the gap. You know, there's this
Korean
um,
drama.
Korean drama that we watched. This prison playbook um, type of scene. That experience of mine, that gesture of me having to find a way to call her,
Mm.
Like
Even
I
inside jail.
yeah, that's why I was gonna say illegally to call you inside of jail. That was a big form of intimacy for us
Hmm.
that led to our third child.
Paglabas, nakabuo ulit. I
So
missed it pa nga, the call, di ba? The
yeah,
first day, like, he tried. Basta kasi I remember that night, dad told me na tatawagan ka daw ni Perry. Sabi ko, ha? Paano niya ako tatawagan? Eh, wala namang phone doon sa loob. Like, oh, someone's calling again. And then I answered. I tried calling it the number. Tapos no
yeah,
one was
yeah, yeah.
picking up.
I remember. I remember.
I tried calling it. Tapos walang sumasagot. And then after, he called. And then I answered. I said, love, love, I love you so much. It's like that. It's like some type of dramatic some Dear John shit. You know that
Dear John.
movie.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah,
it's like that. It's a prison playbook story. Watch that K drama. It's so nice. Ay,
yeah. Right?
gising na siya dahil.
So
Say
this
hello.
this is the third child that
Anyway, siya yun. Siya yung
nabuo.
product. Paglabas niya sa jail.
Just to add, whatever you're not changing, you're choosing. For me to keep our intimacy, my way is not to make her guess. Especially in her love language, which is more on communication. It's hard because I'm not a talker. Like I'm a doer.
You do.
Uh, So yeah, having to love her in her love language, which is more on communication, for me to step up in terms of communication.
Keeping that intimacy alive, it's always a choice, you know? They said kasi being in a marriage or being in love, being in a relationship is a give and take thing, but it's not always like that. There are times where you have to give and give and give without really expecting anything to take. There are times where it's not going to be like a 50-50 thing. There will be times where it's 100 and 0. There will be times where it's like 70-30. It's not always 50-50. So what I'm saying is keeping the intimacy alive is like it's a choice that you have to make each day. There are hard stuff in marriage. You'll just have to choose your heart. It's hard to have deep conversations, but it's also hard being disconnected from not having those deep conversations with your spouse. Or there's not always a happy marriage, but there's always a healthy marriage where you always have to put your spouse first before anything else, even before your own. It's a choice to do the hard work para you don't become just roommates coexisting in one room. I know kasi things change once you start having kids. Especially kami, ang dami naming anak. Ilan anak namin? We're about to have 4 kids. So, I'm only 30, he's 31. It never gets easy, you know. Like, I know it only gets harder. But syempre, you choose this hard with the right person, with the person that you love.
Okay, so the grass is never greener.
Yeah,
On the other side,
yeah.
it's where you make.
It's
Or,
where you water it.
yeah, parati nadidinig eh.
There's not always temptations, but there are only temptations in places where you let it. I live kasi by this 90-10 thing. I just call it thing. I remember what I said about
Mm.
that. Sense the same as what he said na the grass is never green on the other side. It's green where you water it. The thing kasi goes like you're with someone and that someone is not perfect. Let's say that person is like him. He's a 90 because he's not perfect. There's always something that's missing. People like fall into this trap of looking for what's missing in their partner. So what they're gonna do is they're gonna go out and they look for the 10 that's missing in their 90. But the thing is, if you find that, then you lose the 90. It always starts within yourself kasi. Not na lahat iaasa mo lang dun sa partner mo. Kailangan you have to contribute to making that marriage work. One of our way of keeping the intimacy alive is acknowledging na your spouse is not just your wife, is not just your husband. Your spouse is your best friend. For me kasi, kami ng asawa ko, halos in all the things kasi magkasundo kami. We'd have disagreements, we'd have different point of views, we'd have different opinions, but in
Different
most
personality.
different personality, but like magkasundo kami sa lahat ng bagay. Like everything, to be honest, everything we do together. It's not just the parenting, it's not just the being a wife, being a husband. I married my best friend. It's like that. With the music, with everything, it's just I married my best friend basically. That one.
Since we're in the topic of intimacy,
Mm.
now, even though we don't have the time and resources to, I make sure naman din na me and my wife, especially me, I find ways to date her. I prepare, special food.
A date night. It's
Date.
almost like an every night thing.
Sorry, we're going on 4 years married now. I can say now we're still on our honeymoon
Honeymoon
phase.
phase.
We fight so bad. And, we reconnect. We say sorry. We poke fun at
At our wounds.
our our mistakes, our tampo. At the end of the day, we have each other. We'll have more years together. I'll always choose my wife.
Which is, ayun lang. Always choose to keep the spark alive with your partner. All it takes is just to see your partner, see your wife, your husband eye to eye, or not just in the sense of asking how they are. It's like what he said kanina, get curious, like ask what they like, get curious, not just for the sake of asking, not just for the sake of connecting, because asking how they are is not actual connection. You have to always find ways to connect, not just in terms of talking, not just in terms of the physical touch. Do your part as a husband, as a wife. Do your part in making the marriage work. Before you go to bed or something, just to end this episode, even if like you think you're doing all the work already, even if you think you're putting in all the effort into loving them, always check in if they feel loved with how you're loving them. At least ask, how can you make them feel loved? And do that.